What is up, guys? I'm Francis the instructor, and today I'm with Marcus.
Hey, what's up?
Marcus is having his first driving lesson today, and we're going to talk to you guys, and Marcus is going to learn about controls and instruments.
Cool, right, let's do it, yeah.
You ready?
Yeah, I've done a little bit of driving, but it was a long time ago, so
Okay.
I've kind of forgotten how everything works.
So we've just done the DSSM cockpit drill. If you haven't done the cockpit drill, you haven't seen that before, click here to watch that. We've done that already, so we're going to move straight on into controls and instruments. This is going to be the first lesson that you're going to do with your driving instructor. The very first thing is going to be learning how to use the controls and instruments in the car, so you won't do any driving until you're comfortable and familiar with what everything in the car does. All right, let's go through that now. So the first thing that we're going to need to learn about in controls is the pedals. Any idea which pedal does which? Right to left or left to right?
It goes right to left and it's ABC.
That's it?
Yeah.
And that's accelerator.
Yeah. Brakes and clutch.
Great, okay, awesome. So you can also say left to right, CBA, can't be asked. Great ways to remember it. Yeah.
That's good, yeah.
Good ones. Okay, cool. So CBA, ABC. Let's start with A, and that's the accelerator.
Right.
What the accelerator does in a manual car is literally just feeds gas into the engine. So when you press that, the engine noise rises and the car speeds up. If you take your foot off the accelerator, let's say you just need a slight reduction in speed, the gas won't be fed to the engine anymore and you will slow down. So you might not need to actually press the brake if you're not going to take a massive reduction in speed. You just want to take a little bit more caution to what's happening ahead of you. Release the gas, slow down gradually, and then once the hazard's over, you can speed up again. Okay, in the middle, what's that pedal?
So AB, so that's the brake.
That's the brake. Okay,
Yeah.
do you ride a bike?
Yeah.
Okay, so the brakes are going to work pretty similar to how they work on your bike. If you use the brakes gently,
Yeah.
how's the bike going to respond?
Well, yeah, you stop a lot slower.
Yeah,
More
okay, and if I go
gradually, smoother,
bang,
then you're going to somersault.
right over the
You're going to brake
handlebars.
really sharp, yeah.
The brakes in the car work pretty similar. If I smash the brake pedal down
Yeah.
really hard, that's going to give me a really comfortable or not comfortable
Yeah.
emergency stop. Okay, and that's not going to be comfortable for your passengers. It might give
Yeah.
the car behind a little bit of a shock
Yeah.
because they won't be expecting you to do that. So how we're going to use the brake pedal is nice and sparingly. We're going to press it down literally just the thickness of a pen, and I'm going to get you to practice that in a minute.
Okay.
What we do have on the car that you don't have on your bike is brake lights. Insert graphic.
Yeah.
So on your bike, you brake and nobody behind knows what you're about to do or
Yeah.
the fact that you're braking. In the car, we press the brakes and two red lights light up on the back of your car to let the car behind know that you're braking. So let's say we're following some traffic down the road, you see brake lights and that tells you that the car in front of you is slowing down. You can react by slowing down as well, and that also passes the message back like a daisy chain.
Yeah.
Cool?
Okay,
Great. Let's talk next about the clutch. Any idea how the clutch works?
So, from my understanding, you need the clutch obviously to change gear.
Yep.
And you need to push it all the way down, which disengages the engine, right?
Yep.
And then that lets you change gear, and then you bring it back in. That
Awesome.
slots it together.
Great, yes. You also need it for setting off, again, to disconnect and reconnect the engine from the wheels. That's a
Yeah.
really simplified explanation of how the clutch works. So the clutch is made up of two clutch plates inside the engine. One is connected to the engine, one's connected to the wheels. When the clutch is down, they're apart.
Yeah.
So there's no connection between the engine and wheels. Then when we want to set off, we bring the clutch up. Once we get up to about halfway on the clutch, that's the biting point. Now the
Right.
clutch plates are just starting to slip. They're not locked in, but they're just starting to slip. So the one that's spinning really fast connected to the engine, speed up the stationary one before they lock in place.
Right.
And they can get up to the same speed. So when we use the clutch, I want you to use it sparingly, very slowly. We can put the clutch down as fast as you want because you're just doing that,
Yeah.
separating the clutch plates. But when you bring the clutch up, the first half of the clutch won't do anything. It's just killing the dead space between the clutch plates.
Okay.
The second half of the clutch from biting point upwards, that's the important bit. What you can do is pause at the biting point, let the clutch plates start to speed up to the same speed and then lock them in place nice and slowly.
Okay.
Okay, and we're going to have a go in that in a minute when we learn about moving off and stopping. All right, good. So you've learnt which pedal's which, and I'm going to let you play with them in a second, but let's carry on and talk about the rest of the controls. So over here on the left is your engine speed.
Okay.
While you're driving, that should never be on zero. If it's on zero, that means you've stalled. So that's a
Right.
really good indication. If you've maybe jerked the car when you're setting off, oh, is the car still on or not? Have a look over here.
Okay.
If that's on zero, that means the engine is spinning at 0 revolutions per minute.
So
we
it's
need
not
to,
working
yeah, it's
at
not
all.
working. We need to restart the engine there. So in the middle, we have fuel level. On the right of that,
Yeah.
that's oil temperature. When the car's cold and you've just switched it on, that will be on 0. Then the oil temperature rises and the car should work a little bit more efficiently once it's at higher oil temperatures. On the right, you've got your speed. Okay, so that's a really important dial to take note of. Why do you reckon that is?
So you know how fast you're going.
Yeah.
Don't
So you don't speed on the road, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to be a problem if you go speeding on your driving test. What this car has, because it's nice and new, nice and modern, it has a digital speed in the middle. So we can take a note of the analog speed, but the digital speed is right there in front of your face, so you know exactly how fast you're going. Not all cars have that, so do get used to using the analog speed as well, but we're going to focus on the digital speed most of the time on driving lessons, all right?
Yeah.
Next, what we need to know is, how do we indicate? How do we show people our intentions?
Yeah.
We've got amber flashing lights on the side of our car.
Okay.
One on the front, one on the side, one on the back.
Yeah.
Shows people where you intend to move. There's a joke about Audi drivers and BMW drivers, which we'll save for another lesson. If you indicate down,
Yeah.
that will be left. If you indicate up, push the stick up, that's indicating right. And there's an easy way to remember that. Just hold the steering wheel at 10 and 2.
Yep.
And left hand, let's steer right. Where's the left hand going?
Oh, okay,
Up.
yeah,
It
so you're
signals
gonna
up.
push it up.
Steer left, the left hand brushes down.
Comes down.
So if you need to remember which one is which, just remember, think of where you're steering and where your left hand's brushing on the steering wheel.
That makes sense.
Where your left hand's brushing on the indicator stick.
Yeah, that makes
Cool.
sense.
Awesome. So next, what we're going to do is talk a little bit about gears.
Cool.
Now, if you've got an automatic car and you're doing automatic lessons, that's not going to be applicable to you, neither is the clutch. But manual is definitely the way to go. It's what I teach is the best thing. So let's talk about the gears and we'll get familiar with how they work. And you'll see, if you're planning on doing automatic lessons, that is not that difficult. So the gears work just like they do on your bike, so that you can use the least amount of effort to get the most speed.
Right, okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
So when we were in first gear's got the most amount of power but the least speed. Imagine your car, it's like 2-3 tons.
Yeah.
It's going to take a lot of power to push that from still
Right.
to moving.
Yeah.
Right, so we need a lot of power. Think of it like an elephant. An elephant easily could pull out a car, but it wouldn't get up to very much speed because it's got a lot of power but not a lot of speed. Once we get up to around 10 miles an hour, then you need to employ second gear. Second gear's got less power but more speed, a bit like a horse. A horse could probably pull the car a bit faster.
Yeah.
It's still got quite a bit of power but nowhere near as much as an elephant.
Yeah.
They make it really simple for you as well. First gear, 0 to 10. Second gear, 10 to 20. 20 to 30, 30 to 40.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's not overcomplicate this. It's really simple. Gears are not supposed to be complicated. Once you are at 10, we're going to need to use the clutch, just like you said, to change gear. So the gears have doors on each one. It's imaginary doors, but it's the best way to describe it. So let's put doors on each gear. Okay, so when I want to move into a gear, I'll need to press the clutch and that opens all of the doors. Then I can move into first gear, put the clutch up and that closes the door behind.
Okay.
Okay, so you can't change gear without pushing the clutch down and opening the doors.
Sure.
It's not actually doors on the gears, but it's definitely the best and most simple way to describe it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So have another look at the gears.
Okay.
What we are in right now is no gear at all, and we call that neutral. Neutral lives in between 3 and above 4. So on that crossroads there. See the map that we've got on the gears there, we can only move along that silver line. We can't move diagonally. So where we are from neutral to get into first, we have to go left and up.
Up.
Cool. Also, point to note, there are springs in the gears that try and always keep you in neutral. So if we move left, spring takes you back to the middle.
Yeah.
Move right, spring takes you back to the middle. So I'm going to move into first gear, left and up. If I want to get into second gear, remember there's a spring at that crossroads there. So if I just apply downward pressure, it's going to pull me back into the middle, and then I'm going to accidentally hit fourth. So I need to apply left and downward pressure. We call that cupping. See, I'm cupping the gear stick and keeping it left along that wall. You have a go. So try and access first gear, left, up, good.
Up. Cool.
Nice. And then straight into second gear, down and left. That's
push it to the left, put it down.
Awesome. Now, if you want to get into third gear, nice and easy, just let the car do the work. Let the spring push you back to the middle and then just push up. So try not to apply right pressure because then you'll access fifth gear.
Good. So up, let it go, and then up.
Boom, you got it. Fourth gear, straight down from third. Okay,
Yep.
great. And then back to neutral, so we're not in any gear at all. Cool, go through that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and neutral.
So up, and then push to the left, pull it down, and then let it come in, push up.
Great.
Cool.
And then neutral.
neutral.
So let's just role play this.
Yep.
We want to set off. We need first gear. Go for it.
So up.
Awesome. And then we're speeding up.
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Second gear. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Change into third.
Great.
Yep.
21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40.
put it down.
Awesome.
Sweet. Okay, yeah, that's actually fairly easy.
It is, right? It's really simple. The gears are not there to be complicated.
You just slide into place. Really
slide it in. Also, once we're driving and the engine is on, those doors are going to be closed, so we're going to have to put the clutch down. But as we're driving and we've done moving off and stopping, and we're talking about junctions, we'll then start to use first and second gear. But for moving off, we're just going to be in first gear because we're not going to want to move at any more than 10 miles an hour. And that is just a light jog. So on your first lesson, you're not going to go any faster than you could go on your feet. Really simple, not worrying, not scary at all, right?
Yeah.
It's easy. Let's go back into neutral. Okay, great. So with the gears, it's not just a case of, oh, I need to watch my speedo to see when I'm at 10. You can hear it. You can hear the car starts to sound uncomfortable. The engine starts to sound like it's overworked. Starts to sound like a Formula One car crossed with a tractor because I'm in a diesel right now. So that's the sound. If you're in a petrol car, it sounds a little bit more racy. We don't want to drive around like we're racing, so we want to keep the car nice under control.
Yeah,
cool. Gears, awesome. Any questions with that?
No, I mean, from my understanding, it's fairly similar to like a bike. So if you tried to start off in the top gear, you'd be like, trying to keep it going.
Yes.
If you start first, it's really easy to get going.
Yeah,
and then you
the
can
pedals
build
move
that
a lot
up
quicker.
with the other gears. So.
With reverse, it looks like you could access reverse by accident. And that's just for my car. This is a Ford Focus. So your reverse gear might be in a slightly different place. You might not have 6 gears. This car's got 6 gears, so the gear layout might be slightly different than from your car. Have a look at the diagram, the picture on the gears, and you'll be able to work it out. Some cars you press down to access reverse. Some cars you can just slide it into reverse. On this car, you pull up. Can you see that there? Just underneath there.
I've never seen that, yeah.
Yeah, there's a pull-up thing, and that lets you go further left. So when you're just pushing left, you're in first and second gear. You can't access reverse by accident. Pull up, and now you're in reverse. Have a go at that.
Okay. So you pull it up.
Yep. And
That's
reverse.
Really, okay, cool.
Now just slide it back to neutral, and then access first gear, just so you can feel that you're in a different place.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely a noticeable difference.
A lot further left to be in reverse. So don't worry about accessing reverse by accident. You have to do that on purpose to get into reverse. We've talked about pedals, we've talked about the gears and how to signal. We're going to talk about signaling, and that's going to be in another video as well, so stand by for that. And now, lastly, we're going to talk about the handbrake. Some cars have an electronic handbrake, and if you have one of these, you're really lucky. Super easy to use an electronic handbrake, and it's amazing for hill starts. But I used to have a car with an electronic handbrake. It wasn't great for teaching in because you get used to the electronic handbrake. It releases by itself when you're at the biting point, and then you don't need to disengage it. Once you get your own car and you go to drive, you're not going to have one of these electronic handbrakes, so you always forget to disengage the car. So I made sure to have a manual handbrake in this teaching car. It's much better for learning it. But if you've got an electronic handbrake, stick with it. It's amazing for driving.
And they're just usually like a little button.
It's just a button, or a flicky switch where the handbrake should be. So how to use the handbrake. What you're going to do is notice that there's a button on the front. Now that doesn't press in normally. It's a little safety feature, so if you've got kids in the car or you leave your dog in the car with the windows down, you can't disengage the handbrake by accident. You have to just slightly pull up, and then the button's nice and free. And then you can, I've got my foot on the brake, push the handbrake down. When you want to re-engage it, pull back up again, and the handbrake works quite similar to how the brake does. So if I disengage the handbrake and only pull up one click, that's basically me pressing the brake that much. So if you're on a steep hill, you want to be careful of that because your car still might roll backwards. So if you're on a steep hill especially, try and pull the handbrake up as much as possible. It might be more difficult to disengage, but it will keep your car secure. Cool. So I want you to just have a go at that. I'm going to release the handbrake and just pull it up a couple of clicks. Okay. So it's pull up and press, and then disengage down. Great. Okay, then re-engage it.
So you just pull it up,
Pull it up, and then try that again. Disengage, pull, press, and down. Okay. Really easy. Cool. So back on. And I'm going to take my foot off the brake. So the amount that you've just pulled the handbrake up there, that's the equivalent to pressing the brake quite firmly. Okay. Right, so great. He's got a great understanding of the pedals. He's got a great understanding of what everything does inside the car. So next, blush. Next, we're going to learn how sensitive the pedals are. For that, we're not going to move, but we're going to switch on the engine, okay? And this is a Ford, so to switch the engine on, we need to go clutch down and then twist the key clockwise. Ready? Yep. All the way? All the way. Great. Okay, so now we've got the car switched on. We're not going to go anywhere. The car's still in neutral. I'm going to give you a little accelerator exercise so you can find out just how sensitive the pedals are. Awesome. Okay, so just on your left, you said that's the RPM. What's the needle on at the moment? So that's just below 1,000 RPM. Okay, cool. We want to jump the needle up, or I want you to jump the needle up to about 1.5 and 2, so somewhere in between that range, and hold it there. Cool. It's going to be a lot more sensitive than you think. You literally just need to press the pedal the thickness of my pen. Okay, let's try it. Oh yeah, okay, so that is actually a lot more sensitive. Yeah, okay, so cool. Round about there. Keep going. Once you've got that level, come off the pedal and try again. Let's try again? Yeah, go for it. Keep trying. So when you first start driving, you're not used to using your feet in a really controlled and sensitive manner. What you're used to doing with your feet, like walking, running, cycling. Yeah. Now, I'm asking you to use your feet in a really fine and controlled way, like you do with your hands, playing an instrument, writing, typing. Your hands are used to using really fine, sensitive things. Your brain's used to using your hands in a fine, sensitive way, but now your brain's having to learn how to control your feet with millimeter precision.
Yeah, and I'm literally putting like the tiniest bit on that pedal.
That's not going to come overnight. So on your driving lessons at first, it's going to be clunky. It's going to be jerky, and you're going to stall a few times. I've never had anyone that's never stalled on a driving lesson. Yeah. But as you start driving more and you get more into it and you get more practice, your brain's going to be able to control your feet with millimeter precision. It's going to get easier, and the clutch is going to get softer, and you're going to stall less, and everything's going to be smoother. Okay, cool. So just persevere. If it's clunky at first, and if it carries on being clunky after, say, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 lessons, maybe speak to your instructor and find out different ways that you could use to smooth out your feet.
Yeah.
Next, we're going to use the brake pedal. So right foot onto the brake pedal and just press exactly the same. So how much you use the gas pedal is exactly the same. How much you're going to use the brake to slow down in a really smooth way.
Yeah, so it's just a tiny bit.
Off the brake. Let's try that again. Perfect. That's exactly the right amount. So now feel how much you can press the brake down. Okay, yeah, great. That's going to give you a really harsh stop. Like if someone ran out in front of you, you'd want to press the brake. We just need to use the brake and the gas pedal really sparingly, and we only use the right foot for the gas and the brake. Yeah. Okay, so you shouldn't need to brake and clutch at the same time. That's like Lewis Hamilton stuff. That's lesson 5. No. Left foot then on the clutch, and we only use the left foot for the clutch. So clutch down all the way, and you can do that as fast as you want. All you're doing is separating the clutch plates. Okay. But then when you bring the clutch up, not like that, you're going to bring the clutch up really slowly. Okay. So super slow. And just have a couple of practices at bringing the clutch up nice and slow. Awesome, that was good. So the first part of the clutch, remember, doesn't do anything, and halfway up the clutch, then you're going to feel the biting point when we're in gear.
You can definitely feel it start to get a bit more tense as you lift it up.
Okay, and the car's going to make a different noise, the engine's going to feel a little bit more stressed, and the back of the car will dip. That's when you know you're at the biting point. From then, you need to really be gentle. If you're having trouble, pause at the biting point and then bring the clutch up. So let's have a go at that now. Sure. Clutch down, bring it up as fast as you want to halfway, so just up to halfway, and then pause. Yep. And then bring the clutch up nice and slow, linking in the clutch plates, locking them in place, and then the car's moving. Okay? So Marcus is a really quick learner. He's taken that in already. What we're going to do next is moving off and stopping, learning how to set off and stop the car. Catch that video next.